Once you have all your holes poked, then the next question is left up to you. Do you want to leave the surface totally silver and clean if you chose to use foil, or if you just used cardboard and it had a color, are you going to leave the color as your background? If it's just a brown piece, are you going to leave it like that, or are you going to color on the brown? So you have to decide what you're going to do next. If you decide you want to color on it, now here's the part where you do not want to use your water-based markers again, because if you use that, as you saw with our little stained glass pieces, the color does not stick to the foil. It is going to always be a little bit wet and never totally dry, and that's why it stuck to this glue so nicely, and we were able to get this beautiful stained glass looking effect. So because of that, you're going to, if you want to add color, you're going to have to use Sharpies or anything permanent, so any permanent marker. So if you only have a black permanent Sharpie, then you could do some sort of cool black geometric design on here if you wanted to, or draw some pictures. But if you happen to be fortunate enough to have some colors to choose from also, that would be really cool, and that would create a really fun, interesting surface. Since I used a lot of blue, yellow, and pink with mine, I could do that again, and I could come up with some cool colors. This will dry on it and will become permanent, so I would definitely do any coloring or design work that you want to do before you add your sculpture pieces. So this is the next part. If you are interested in adding colors and patterns, this would be the next time to do it. So I'm going to finish mine up and show you how that looks at the end, and then we will talk about how we're putting all those pieces together. Alright, so here's a close-up of how I decided to finish it. I decided to do a different color in each corner, or the same color in each corner, I mean, outlined with some bands of other colors. And in the middle, I decided to do a bunch of different kind of polka dots and shapes. I had at least one surrounding each hole, and then I did a bunch of other random ones. And I did leave some of the background silver just so that it kind of would make it pop. And then I'll be adding my stems in just a moment. Alright everyone, we're at the last step of our Chihuly stained glass sculpture. So we have already made our background, made our base using foil to a piece of cardboard. We poked some holes in it for however many of these little stemmed glass pieces you are going to be making. If you wanted to decorate it with Sharpie, you could. If you didn't have Sharpies, like colorful Sharpies, or even just black and white, even just a black Sharpie would look really cool. You could do like a checkerboard or some really cool pattern. But if you didn't have any Sharpies, then you could leave it silver, or you could just leave it cardboard, whatever you wanted. And then you're going to take your stained glass pieces that we made, and I remember glued them to pipe cleaners. What I like about pipe cleaners is that you can bend them and twist them and create some cool shapes with them. But like I said, if you don't have pipe cleaners at home, because I know a lot of people don't, it is a common craft supply you probably could pick up at Walmart or Target. I know we're not going out very much these days, but if you are out, or a family member's out, they might be able to pick some up. Like I said, toothpicks, popsicle sticks, little pieces, twigs and branches from outside are really cool too. There's a lot of twigs and branches that have funny little shapes and bends to them. That could be really neat also. So whatever you have to attach them, you're going to be stringing them through whatever hole you want. And if you do have a bendable pipe cleaner, you can bend it and twist it to be whatever shape you want. Now getting them to stay still and not fall apart is the tricky part. So underneath here, you're going to want to bend your wire, if you have a wired pipe cleaner, of course. And I'm just kind of bending it into like a sort of circle shape. I'm really trying to like put it in a little spiral so that it stays still, and that kind of helps it hold up. I am going to be putting some glue on it also at the end. So to keep it from falling apart on you, after you glue it, you might want to lean it on something. Let's say you have something like a bucket or something. You could, you know, have one bucket on each side holding it up. so it's hovering in the air. That way you can have everything sort of hanging there, and you can put your dollops of glue on it afterwards and let it dry. Or again, if you have a hot glue gun, you can do that also. If you just have sticks, obviously you won't be able to do this bending effect, so you'll have to probably get some glue and hold it in place while it dries, or use a hot glue gun. You're gonna have to get a little creative. We have to be a little creative these days to kind of make things work. And if they have different heights, you can try to make some taller and some shorter. I think I'm gonna leave this one a little bit taller. If you do have pipe cleaners as an option, you can even twist and bend them together a little bit so they crisscross each other a little. You could even do this with sticks or anything else that is already bent. Some could be hanging low, some could be hanging high. It'd be really fun and interesting to have them kind of all going in different directions. So while I'm finishing this up, I'm just going to let you guys know there are a couple other options you could do. If you don't have a way of doing this, a standing sculpture, or if it's just not an interest to you and you'd rather do something else with these pieces, some ideas that I had that I'm not going to demonstrate here, but I would love to see you guys practice and play with, are you could do a hanging sculpture. Some of Chihuly's stained glass pieces are hanging, so what he did was you could take them and glue them to something that is holding up, maybe like a stick or anything like that, something that you have hanging. You could have strings hanging down and have these pieces glued to it. That would be really cool. You could also do something where you have maybe you turn them into a piece of wearable art. Maybe you poke some holes in them and make them a bracelet or a pair of earrings. That would be really cool and really funky. Maybe you could have them be sun catchers, meaning sun catchers are things that you hang in the window so that the sun can go through them and you can see the beautiful colors on the other side, kind of like stained glass. That would be so cool. Do something that you could hang and maybe hang into your window so that you could see all the beautiful colors. I am just, I think there's an endless amount of possibilities of different ways you could play with these beautiful stained glass looking sculptural pieces, and I would absolutely love to see the different ways you guys come up with when you are doing these yourself. So I'm going to finish mine up here. I'm going to get it glued, and then I'll show you the finished piece as it stands. Here is the finished sculpture. Attached to its base, I used hot glue in this situation instead of regular glue. Regular glue will work, it just will take a little longer to dry, but I wanted to get this done a little quicker for you guys. Once it's all glued in, then you can bend them and twist them and have them go whatever direction you want, and you end up with a really beautiful stained glass looking finished standing sculpture. Again, if you have a different idea of what you can do with these beautiful sort of plasticky colorful pieces, hang them from something, turn them into wearable art, I would love to see that. So I hope I see some really beautiful little gluey stained glass pieces coming at me real soon.